Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, and however good it feels. Glad to have you here. It's me, Legal Vices, and today we are doing day 3 of the ice cream murder trial. We don't want to miss that. We're going to get most of the morning hopefully done. There's a slim possibility we might actually get the entire morning done. We'll just have to see how that goes. And we're also the background I've added here, it just like totally, when I sit up straight, it totally deletes the brim of my hat. Need to switch up the hat color, or we can just take the background blur off. Boom, there we go. Oh, all right. Yeah, we'll leave the background blur off there for a bit. Okay, everybody. Yesterday we got through day 2. We accidentally got through the entire day 2 yesterday. And right at the end of day 2, there was some fireworks. There was a juror who was possibly sleeping, who they talked about a few times during the day and who they said they were going to keep an eye on. That juror who was apparently sleeping or may have been sleeping also got a special round of questioning from the judge, because he said they showed a photo lineup of some people with the defendant's picture in there, and he said that he believes he saw one of the people in that photo lineup in the gallery watching the trial, but it turned out it wasn't. And then another juror said that they're going to be calling a doctor, and she said that she had some procedures done by the doctor who was going to be a witness. So they were questioning whether or not they needed to release that juror because she had a prior relationship with the doctor. So that was like the fireworks that were going on at the end of the day. And speaking of fire, we've got Chandler Remington here, who joined us from our OJ stream a minute ago.
Welcome. Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
We're happy to have you here. It's always nice to have someone else doing these streams with me to kind of break up the monotony. So we're going to plow through this morning of day 3 as fast as we can. We're going to be listening to it on 1.25 speed. And while we're doing that, there's 139 concurrent viewers is all. Are we even live? That's the question to look at. Make sure we're public. Well, you're all here, so let's see. Yeah, we are public, I think. Wait, what? All right, hang on. Double checking here. Yep, it says we are live and public. And I also see that for some reason our O.J. Simpson's trial has been flagged for not suitable for all advertisers. So let me request a review of that nonsense.
Odd.
Maybe they just feel sorry and don't want to monetize Dennis Fung getting beaten down repeatedly. All right. So, yeah, I guess people will come or not. And again, we don't have to cover this trial. Seriously. I could be sleeping. So as I said, we'll just do this as long as people have interest in coming here. People have interest in watching it, like sufficient numbers to make it worthwhile. If it's not, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. And just to let you know what we've got coming up in case you weren't here for the O.J. Simpson trial just before I got here to do this stream. Coming up tomorrow, Friday, we have some law rants. We're going to be talking about the Zachariah Anderson trial. We're going to be talking about Nashville. We're going to be talking about Taylorship Business. We're going to be updating you on other trials that are going on. So there's going to be some ranting involved. I can feel that already. And in case you're wondering what all that god-awful noise is, right down here we have where are we at here? We need to add them. We have Yoda digging through, just I guess trying to make a nest with a towel.
That's incredibly cute. I love it. I love the pup cam. I'm a big fan.
So that's what all this. I don't know if you can hear the scratching noise, but that's what it all is. And just so you know, we have doggo cam, we have the puppy cam, we have the English bulldog cam, but Just like a good drug dealer, I'm giving you with the first bump free. That's the first bump. We're giving you the first bump free, and the doggos are behind a $100 paywall, and unless Yoda keeps barking, then Yoda's gonna be in the hospital. Just kidding, just kidding. I love you, Yoda. You're just noisy and stupid. So,
Gotcha.
all right, we have law rants coming up tomorrow. And then that's tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night, U.S. time, it's going to be Flux, Danny on, and I talking about the unexplained. We're going to be doing our usual unexplained stream. We're going to be talking about mysterious goings on and events in caves around the world. Why are caves so unusual? Monday, we're going to be doing a very special Maritime Monday, hopefully an extra super very special Maritime Monday with the creator of Maritime Horrors channel. If not, we'll just be doing a very special one with me. Tuesday, we're going to be doing an interview with Solomon Anderson, the brother of Zachariah Anderson. Ozzy Overlord and Chandler will be joining me for that because they were there doing the trial with me as well. And on Wednesday, I'll be doing an interview with Zenith Anderson, Zachariah Anderson's sister. And again, Chandler and Ozzy Overlord will be joining for that if they are so inclined.
Oh, I am. And certainly.
I wanted to talk to Nicole Muller, the defense lawyer, but she said I guess they're still handling the appeal, and their firm has decided to do no interviews regarding the matter. So, although she said she would love to do it, and we tried, but she said they're not allowed to do it. So
disappointing, but understandable.
We can't get the defense lawyer, but we've got Zachariah Anderson's brother on Tuesday, his sister on Wednesday. Thursday is O.J. Simpson Day. And then next Friday, mark it on your calendars. A week from tomorrow, the 7th of April, is my monthly F It Friday stream where we're going to have a huge panel of guests. It's going to be a free-for-all. They're legendary if you haven't seen an F It Friday. The whole purpose of F It Friday is to liberate as much money from you as possible. I grift for shots. You throw money at me. I do shots of whiskey. We get liquored up. And this, depending on how much we haul in, then we don't have to really worry about grifting for super chats the rest of the month. We just do it. It's all fun. It's all good in games. We just get it out of the way in one day every month. And that's F It Friday. We have an all-star panel of people that join every month. And the invitations are going out today or tomorrow to people, and then other people will ask to come on. It's a great thing. If you haven't seen any of the F It Fridays, you've missed out. Do not miss out on this one. Mark it on your calendar, Friday, April 7th, and go liberate all of the funds from your bank account and throw your money right at my face, and I will do shots, and we'll all be happy. All right. That's ridiculous. It sounds stupid, and it is, but it's super, super fun. People in chat can tell you how people now see JD. You know what? You just stepped in it, JD. Jeff is desperate for cash, apparently, but doesn't read all super chats. Jeff does read all super chats. And in fact, I had realized that I did not read your super chat at the end. I had it flagged as I showed Chandler, and I actually took a photograph of it to read it to you on this stream, but now you called me out, so now I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to read your super chat. You couldn't wait for me to read your super chat. You had to say bad things about me. So, all right, you've already said the bad thing, so I guess I earned not reading the super chat.
For shame, people. Have a little faith in your lovely Lorax host.
JD,
I'm a little disappointed.
If you take it back, JD, I'll read it. If you take it back, I'll read it. Take back your naughty thing. Take back the mean thing you said about me. Because that's actually why I was late. I was trying to find a way to just copy it so I could copy and paste it here. And Chandler was the witness for the whole thing.
I saw it. It happened.
Yeah. So, I eventually just had to take the picture because I didn't want to not read a super chat. So, do you take it back? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll be the better person. You don't even have to take it back. I'll just read it. because I'm the better person and I have standards and morals. So JD, in the last stream I did, sent a $5 super chat. My bad, I got triggered. See, don't get triggered. I'm on your side. We're on the same team. I love my chat. My chat's the best. I don't have to... JD's not Canadian. You want to take it back. He said, if you watch a ACS People v. O.J. Simpson, Sarah Paulson plays an exasperated Marcia Clark masterfully. That's all I can envision watching you go through this. Thank you very much for that super chat. Don't get triggered. I'll read it. I read all the super chats.
I loved watching People versus OJ. It was fantastic. And I think that Sarah Paulson did an incredible job. Personal politics aside, even though she is an Amber Heard supporter, I still really like her as an actor.
Yeah, see, Anderson couldn't find where I read his member milestone, but I did, and I said no. I said no. We're not lifting Rule 3 even for one day. Yeah, we did it and we answered it. So there you go. And see, I have a list of every single super chat that has ever come in. It's all there. It's all in a spreadsheet and a separate spreadsheet, and it's also in YouTube. So if I ever don't read a super chat, which I try, the only time I actively probably don't read all the super chats is on F It Friday. I either don't read some or I read the same one like 5 times after I get really liquored up. One of those two things are bound to happen. But other than that, I read all the super chats, and all you got to do is say, hey, I had a super chat yesterday you didn't get to, or something like that, and I'll go back and I'll check it. So anyway, that's it for the super chats. Enough talking about stupid super chats. Let's get on with the trial here.
Sounds good.
I've got the like and subscribe poll. We're up. And so please feel free to take that poll. And since I was talking about how awesome it was that we managed to make up some lost ground in the subscription department, we actually lost half of those during the last stream. It's just weird because the chances of 7 people canceling their subscriptions in the space of about 15 minutes. It's just YouTube, up to YouTube shenanigans. Make sure if you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you have subscribed, just double check, please, to make sure that you're still subscribed, because YouTube is going through another purge. I would appreciate it. And then take our like and subscribe poll. Have you smashed the subscribe button? We're looking for subscriptions because we want to get up to 50,000 as soon as possible. Said yes, and I hit the like button. And you said I have. Let's get to 37,000 subs, and I am, and I checked to see if I still am. That's our poll for today. It's lame, but that's what it is. See, Bifron said I would get unsub from Jeff on a weekly basis. I've had people say that they've been unsubscribed at least 9 times from me. It's just weird.
That's insane. What's wrong with the algorithm? I don't understand why that happens.
Now, Flux, the memberships are different than the subscriptions. The memberships, the gifted memberships, if you don't renew them, they automatically go away. But the subscriptions should stay there, but YouTube just randomly deletes subscribers. They just randomly unsubscribe people. I actually had a sub for lunch. It was a delicious rotisserie chicken. But anyway, Chaos Coordinator has just gifted 10 Legal Vices memberships. So if you have gotten one of those 10 Legal Vices memberships, please give Chaos Coordinator a special thanks. It's Dazzer. Even JD got one because he's on a redemption tour. Glitterfart got one. Jonathan got one. Renato Liu got one. Common Sense Superhero got one. Who else? Disney Nerd 85. Jason Wellman. Dick Saucer. Shelly Sinocolo, sorry. Amanda M got one. There you go. I think that's all. Awesome. On that note, hit the like, hit the subscribe, take the poll, and let's bring up the Ice Cream Man Day 3. We'll hit this for about a little over an hour and a half, and we'll see how it goes, see how much we get through. Spree Flex says, you've been with me since day one and you've never got one of the gifted memberships. Make sure your accepting gifted memberships thing is on. That'll increase your chances. You have a 0% chance if it's not on. If it is on, all right. I'm bringing this up here. And again, oh, hey, J.A. says for the Chandler YouTube fund. Well, thank you for giving me money for Chandler's YouTube fund. I'll make sure she gets it when she hits 1,000 subscribers and gets her 4,000 watch hours in. I will make sure to pass that along to her in the form of another super chat in your name.
That's very nice.
I seriously will. I remember things. And let's see. That's $2 on our way to the $100 dog cam release footage. Chaz Berglund, new member. Chaz, he has joined the Bent Halos and Broken Wings tier. Good for you. There you go. And that reminds me, Chaos Coordinator, where membership streams, I got to have some time. I'm just being run ragged, but I swear sometime in the next few weeks, we'll be having another long overdue members only stream. Hand to God, I promise.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Esprit Flex says, no, man, I haven't been unsubscribed. All right, well, good. Don't get unsubscribed and don't do it intentionally. All righty, here we go. Ice Cream Man, double murder retrial. And they're
motion for subpoena. Did the state have an opportunity to take a look at that?
Judge, they sent it to me last night. I asked for some change if they added it. Okay, I'm fine with it, Judge.
Okay. I didn't see it on JAWS, so I'm going to sign the original, and my JA has copies that she can conform.
They're subpoenaing somebody.
Copies. And I'll give the original to the clerk. Thank you.
And King Ginger,
take me a moment to sign on and everything. I'm told all the jurors are here, though. Is the medical examiner the state's first witness this morning?
No, Judge.
Oh, okay.
No, Judge. King Ginger has been a member of the Clean and Sober crew for 2 months. As I joined the Clean and Sober crew so I can tell people I'm clean and sober and not be lying, technically. Lol. Good on you. That's a good reason as any. All right. Oh, and Vince Clortho says, hat. Just curious. Yes, this is a hat.
I believe he is wearing a hat today. Yes, that looks like a hat. It's a good hat.
Yes, it is a hat. All right.
Quite a nice hat.
Thanks.
Is your curiosity satisfied?
If there's more to it than that, please just send it in a regular chat. Let me know what the actual question was.
Hat?
Meanwhile, I thought he was playing with his head. He's got a bag back there.
Or I think with a witness, so we are ready. I can go.
Wait, no, she's dealing with the firearm judge. We can just have a moment.
Certainly.
And they're dealing it with the jury can't come out.
Okay.
I apologize.
Not a problem.
I don't know what's
Not a problem. Ms. Johnson is in control. Is the defense ready when they clear the hall and we can get our jury out? There's Miss.
Okay.
Before he came in to kind of eliminate that where the attorneys were less likely to want to bring up issues when the jury was already in the courtroom.
I think I know that, Judge.
I may start.
That, Judge.
I may start doing that.
I got you.
All right. Well, let me make sure the state is on board with your issues. What are the issues?
There are a couple things we addressed yesterday afternoon, and then we had a conversation with Ms. Doherty this morning when Ramon Galan got off the stand. He walked out, and then, however, was approached. There was a communication and a contact and a hug between the victim's mother and Ramon Galan. That
In the courtroom?
occurred in the courtroom.
I didn't see it, but I
Right.
trust you.
To be fair, I didn't see it because I was finishing my cross-examination. Ms. Kolev saw it, and when we brought it up, Ms. Hodges said she at least saw part of it or an approach. We confirmed with Court TV that it did take place. Obviously, that's a concern. We don't know, or I don't know if the jury saw that. Ms. Doherty said that she has. had a conversation to make sure something like that does not happen again in the presence of the jury.
With the victims, yeah.
Right.
Appreciate that.
So that was a concern. The other issue is I believe they're going to bring in the router through this witness, or that's their intent. They're calling crime scene technician Brando. I see the court's look. Court was here at the last trial. The court knows that the issues that were brought about. I think this time it's not a surprise, found in a bag, so we don't have to.
I think I called it a rabbit in the hat last time.
Yeah, I think it was. I can't remember what you said, but
All right.
you know, apparently
I've had enough of this banter.
That was our foundation. It's not unlike what I will say when Connie Bell testifies. If the questions come up, when Michael Keetley made this search, how many times? That's a foundation that is assumed that cannot be brought about, right? Computer was searched. Here, the analogy is when that router was used. Could it have been over here? Could it have been over there? Could it have been anywhere? And I anticipate from prior discussions with this court and having practiced before the court that the argument may be, hey, that's weight versus admissibility, or can't you handle that on cross-examination? And I understand, and I think I know how to cross-examine on occasion, but
And keep them awake.
well, yeah, I did it on the third time apparently. But you know, nonetheless, whatever my talent or skill may be, or the ability to handle it, that really is not the issue.
Well, it doesn't make it admissible if it's
Right.
not admissible. So, I mean, I'm not of that position that, oh, well, you know, let it in and you can
Right.
take care of it if in fact it's not admissible.
Sure, and you know, again, I'm gonna analogize it or compare it to what you talked about yesterday with the cloth that you kept out of evidence. Can an argument be made that Michael Keetley was on the router and using the router right by Ocean Mist before he committed the crime? I guess so. But they have nothing to back that up. And they had every opportunity to get those records to show where that router and that hotspot was at that time. And so they can say,
Won't the
good.
computer show, and forgive me, and
Yes.
I apologize because I am by no means, by any stretch of anyone's imagination, a computer expert. I'm
Right.
lucky if I can turn it on.
Right.
But won't the computer, isn't that where they got the other information as to what searches were made? So wouldn't the computer have the time and date of certain searches?
Yes, and so that's maybe where my comparison fell apart. Let me to answer your question. Yes, where I'm saying that if they ask about the searches and they say, how many times did Michael Keetley search X? They can't say that Michael Keetley searched X. They can only say that searches were done on the computer. They cannot say by who. So that was what I was saying. How many times did Michael Keetley search? That's an assumption or a suggestion of fact that they can't prove. The analogy here or the comparison here on that is, yes, to your point, that computer was being used right about the time of the crime, but they want to say he, being Michael Keetley, was using it and using a hotspot. So that places him at the scene of the crime. They cannot do that. They have nothing to say how that router specifically works in relation to that case. How that router, where that router shows him. It could have had him in Egypt. I know I'm being a little bit ridiculous here. They can't put him anywhere with that router. And they want to bring that router in to say he could have done X. Well, if they really thought he could have done X, they had 5 years. 5 years to go get those records to show where that router was. Now, if they could place him at a certain point or place that computer, they could say that computer was here, bouncing off this tower at this time. And as I say, it's unfortunate for us because we know where it would have put him, at his house. And so we don't have the benefit of that evidence. We couldn't get it. We can't get it. It's old. So the router itself has absolutely no relevance in this case.
Okay.
If the court is going to let it in, and I'm
Why are
not
we talking
conceding the
about
point
it?
by saying that, we're certainly going to have a lot to say about what argument the prosecutors can make through other witnesses, because any argument they make before the jury has to be founded in evidence and the existence of a router, and then subsequent anticipated testimony from Connie Bell of what a router could do. And even though I will cross-examine her as well, and I expect that she will say, I cannot place this router anywhere.
And I hate to oversimplify things,
Right.
but it always makes it
It
easier
helps.
for me to oversimplify
Sure.
things. So is it your position that the fact that the computer had mobile capability is not relevant at all?
I believe that would be relevant. The
We'll see you
question
later,
then
JD. I was
becomes-
muted when I said all that.
Because I think
See you later.
we can see
Catch
it
you on
had
the
mobile,
replay.
Isn't that what this router does? It gives it mobile capability?
it provides, and simple to simple back, if I'm saying it correctly, it provides the basis, the ability to fire up, right? Without having a Wi-Fi connection or somewhere else, right?
Yeah, and wasn't
So that-
it like a cellular? I don't. It's been some time, but I
Right,
thought it was
I'm
back
done
in the
listening to
day.
judge here.
Now,
Be all old. How can a young judge like that?
I certainly believe that if they could do that, it would make it even more relevant. But the simple issue that I see is the mobile capability of the computer. Is that relevant or
Right.
not? And including the fact that it was being utilized moments or minutes or sometime close to the incident. And at the end of the day, I find that it is relevant. And then I go to 403 and I find that the risk of unfair prejudice does not substantially outweigh the probative value of
Okay,
that
so
fact.
put
that
router
it's
information in.
had mobile capability. Not suggesting that, or what the jury may take from that, or that it proves anything. That's ultimately for the jury. But the fact of, is the mobile capability of this computer relevant? I find that it is. And then I'll go to 403, and I do not find that it's substantially outweighed by any unfair prejudice.
Right, the dangerous and unfair prejudice. What I would say to you, my argument at this time is mainly focused on its admissibility.
Right.
Okay. And so obviously we'll see how things come, and we may have some challenges during Miss Bell, and we may have some challenges to see what can be argued in closing. We'll deal with that.
Not a problem. Absolutely. I suspected the cross-examination will be interesting.
The other thing I'm going to make sure, and I think this is real quick and easy, I think Mr. Brando is just admitting this came up in the last trial. He's just going to be the guy to admit the router. He's not going to say what it is. He's not going to say how it works or anything like that.
I think that's what
That's
happened.
correct. That's
Okay.
how I was gonna.
All right.
There's one thing I wanted to clear up because Miss Doherty just let me know. On the call detail records for the Verizon hotspot, I guess my understanding now is that we were going to do a preservation letter, but when we learned of the date that those records would have been kept and the date
Okay, he's
that
letting
we
it in. We can
had,
stop talking about it now. Jesus.
Because we already knew that we weren't going to get the records, so I didn't want the
It
court to
still
think
does
that-
its thing. I agree
It's
that
still
that would be
fine.
nice to have,
Oh, of course.
but it doesn't make the admissibility of the mobile capability any less or more, any less relevant. I certainly think that it could be more telling if they in fact had those records. It would either be a huge hurdle for them to get over, or it would be significant evidence for them because they don't have. So
I
exactly.
just did not want to mislead the court by.
No, I appreciate that.
So-
Right. I think
Thanks, Judge.
we'll cross-examine that, I think, through Detective Lugo on their 5-year wait. I don't think
Anything else before we bring the jury in?
No, sir.
State ready?
Judge Nance, just a moment.
Yeah.
Can we please have the jury? Please let the jury come in.
Of all,
First trial, the state wanted the witness, crime scene investigator Brando, to attach the drum to the rifle. And so we intend on doing that again today.
Attaching
our
the
intentions.
drum to the rifle.
The
What
court
happened?
did not allow that to be done in the first trial and instructed the bailiff to do it. I've talked to the bailiffs and supervisors, and they have told me they will not be touching a firearm.
which, yeah, and I don't disagree. I instructed the bailiff to do it. I don't remember
Yes, Judge.
that.
Touch
Yes,
it.
when I watched
Touch the
testimony.
firearm. Touch
Um,
it. Point it at the jury. They like that.
I as
Point
I
at
sit
opposing
here, I think it's
counsel.
the witnesses' I don't know that the defense would want the bailiffs to do it, and I'm going to respect their position. I certainly understand that. I mean, they're not going to participate in. They shouldn't participate in the trial. I don't know what I was thinking or why I wouldn't allow the witness to do it, but I think it's a function of the witness. Mr. Grant, do you have a position on that? Do you want a uniformed officer to come in and do it?
Judge, I don't think it's even relevant. It deals with a firearm that's not even at issue in this case, and the admission of the firearm is not.
Well, that
relevant.
doesn't
I think
stop
that's
him in the
been
Murdoch
thoroughly
trial.
litigated before, when we raised those arguments again, as it
Certainly
relates.
not.
It doesn't show anything to prove or disprove a material fact. It shows there was a firearm in Michael KEETLEY's house, which is a guy who doesn't have a record and has constitutional rights. He had every right to do. There's no insinuation that it was an unlawfully possessed firearm. It's not even relevant.
Judge, actually, that gun is relevant because Norma Jean Towers is going to state that she saw him fire that gun. So yes, it most certainly is relevant.
Well, if he has a gun, he's probably firing.
I right now want to deal with who's going to attach the clip.
Searches for drum barrels.
Can we just?
That gun and the drum were located in the defendant's bedroom.
Who? I'm inclined to. I don't know why I didn't let the witness attach the clip before, but my inclination is to let the witness attach the clip. Any legal objection to that?
Well,
Besides the relevance,
right? Not waiving the objections we have. I'm not particularly fond of a bailiff doing that either. I want to make sure that the state doesn't try to. Go
I'm not making
to,
you pay for the doggo cam. I'm just saying,
testimony
if we ever get up to $100, I just turn it on.
And
you don't
he's
have to
capable
pay
of doing
for
it. He does it. He doesn't have to offer any opinions or testimony about it.
Explanation,
Just,
nothing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the courthouse security concern, and these guys and gals keep us safe, so I'm all in favor of that. But at the same point in time, I don't.
I mean, it's quite possible the last time the bailiff told me that they were uncomfortable with that and wanted to do it. It's possible. I don't remember, but I accept Miss Johnson's representation that a bailiff did it last time. But as I sit here right now,
the bailiff
I'm
did it.
not
The bailiff
inclined
always does
to have a bailiff involved in the presentation of evidence to the jury. So
Right, yeah.
I'm gonna the witness can do it, but he's not. It doesn't open the door to any testimony about it, any opinions about it, or anything like that. It's the simple act of putting the clip or whatever it is in the gun.
Yes, Judge. So currently it's zip tied. So we'll have to cut the zip tie. He'll have to attach to the drum, hold it up for the jury, and the drum is empty. And then we'll take it out. We'll zip tie it again and secure it.
I was about to say I don't even know that I will cross, so everybody can stay away. But aside from that, I don't anticipate using it. So if we zip tie it right away after
All
that,
right. So
and
we're
just
setting
so
up
that
for
the
some-
jury's not uncomfortable, if you ask those questions of
For
the
some
witness,
boring
it's
times in
clear,
court,
there's nothing
watching
in
a
it.
guy open
I
up
don't know if
the
it's going to be zip
gun
tied when it
parts
comes
and
in, and
put
then
them
you're going to cut the
together.
zip tie. That's perfect. So I just don't want the jury to be uncomfortable.
Yes, sir.
We had an AK-47 come in one time. I think it was, and then they laid it on there, it was facing the jury, and the jury was doing like this. And I was like, turn it around. So they turned it around facing me, and that was fine with me because I knew it wasn't unloaded. But I noticed the jury being uncomfortable when it was laying up on this bench here facing them. So let's just also be careful of that. I just don't want to make the jury uncomfortable.
Because
With
this is Florida. That gun could have been loaded.
They know what they're doing.
Could have gone off.
Pointed away too. So.
No rules.
Yeah.
No
Wow.
scruples.
Judge,
Doesn't always happen that way.
that's why I bring it up.
Florida.
May I confirm for the record that my objections to the admission of the items that will come in are preserved
Absolutely,
now.
yes.
So I will not raise an objection when they come in for purposes of making sure that jury.
I do agree, and I know that some attorneys, are adamant about making those because they're afraid they would be waived. But there is a rule that specifically says that once a definitive ruling on the record is made, the party need not renew objection or offer of proof to claim error on appeal, and that is 90.104 sub 1 small b. So I agree.
Excellent.
We've argued it here. I've made a definitive ruling. There's no reason to renew it in order to preserve it for appeal.
Yes, sir.
Can we
Thanks.
please have the jury?
Can we move on?
All right, state ready?
The state's not paying attention, Judge.
Defense ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's get the jury.
Jesus, thank you. She's new. I don't think she was there yesterday, the young little one.
In the red or in the white?
Yeah, in the red. The one in the
Jury
white
is present and seated.
is
Everyone else may
the
be seated
main.
at this time, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Good morning.
She's
and
one of the main
welcome
defense
back.
lawyers.
First question for you. Well,
No,
other than
she's probably a
nice to see all of
paralegal.
you, and thank you for coming back. But the first question, as always,
She
is:
looks
was
like
anyone
one.
exposed to anything about this case outside of the courtroom, or has anyone discussed anything about this case amongst yourselves or with anyone else by show of hands at this time? Let the record reflect that there are no hands. And again, thank you all very much for that. We are going to pick up where we left off, and we are starting a little later than I expected. I take full responsibility for that. Please don't hold that against the attorneys, the parties, or anyone else. But I am going to ask the state to please call their next witness at this time.
Crime scene investigator Nancy Hager.
Nancy Hager.
Yes, sir.
Nancy Hagar. I can't drive 55.
Now, I'm completely new to this entire trial, so I'm going to be catching
Ms.
up.
Hager, welcome
I
and
go
good
along.
morning.
All you've
Come
missed
forward
is
before the
introducing
witness. Wherever you're
pictures.
comfortable, if you'll face me and raise your right
Okay.
hand, please. Thank you very much. Do you swear or affirm any testimony you give in this?
Oh, she's got hair. All right. Before we get on, let's do like a TLDR of what exactly is going on here for Chandler and other people who are maybe seeing this for the first time. Very, very quickly, he ran an ice cream truck. He was robbed of $12 and shot 5 times by one dark-complected black or Hispanic woman, black or and 2 black or Hispanic men. He gave the police what information he had. The police couldn't find anybody. As he's an ice cream driver, while he was out running his ice cream rounds, he was asking about it, doing his own little investigation, and he was told that some guy named Creeper did it. And so he spent a good deal of time looking for Creeper. And on Thanksgiving of 2010, he went over to a house where there was a party going on. They said Creeper wasn't there. He made everybody kneel down, and he executed 2 of them with gunshots to the back of the head, and
wow.
shot 4 others as they were fleeing, allegedly. The prosecution is saying it is revenge gone wrong, and the defense is saying he wasn't there. And even if he had been there, he couldn't have done it because when he was shot, it damaged the radial nerve on his arm and made it physically impossible for him to have been able to pull the trigger or fire or even hold a weapon at the time of the murders.
Interesting.
And that's kind of where we are.
Okay. Thanks for the summary. Good summary.
And while we're here, Fondin, a member 6 months of the Fallen Angels level. Ooh. Thank you so much. Says, be the Law Rack sub, take his poll, and give money for the dog cam. Now we need merch. Law Rack's Baldo. It probably isn't going to happen, but yes. Jonathan, where are you here? Did I not? There we go. Jonathan asks, are you hat? And I wish I was drunk. How are lads and lasses? Hope all is well. We are fantastic. I wish I was drunk. And I hope you are too. Glitterfart said, what kind of hat and where can you get it? This is a one-of-a-kind hat from Y Hats in Spain. It was custom made. It's an awesome, super awesome hat. Because what other hats have a pheasant feather in it? So yeah, this is a lovely hat from Y Hats in Spain. You can look them up on the internet and get your own custom-made hat if you are so inclined. Mr. Turtle Sara says, this is my hat. There are many like it, but this one is mine. There are some similar to this, but none like it because it's custom. And Vince Clortho clarified and said, sorry, just looks like the price tag is hanging off the back, kind of like in Hee Haw. That was Minnie Pearl from the Grand Ole Opry. But no, that is actually if we can get close, it's a sterling silver arrowhead, feather. It's a sterling silver chain with a sterling silver feather on the end.
That is very cool. I love that. It suits you. It's a lovely hat.
It's one of my peacock hats for going out, in
Absolutely
style.
fabulous. Very, very dapper.
It's got some awesome indentations here, but it's really dark, so you can't see. it's kind of maybe if you look at it from above, yeah, it's got some cool indentations on the side and things. But anyway, that's the hat for the day. I don't wear this one too often because it's like at the bottom of the hat box stack.
Every time I stream with you, I slowly become familiar with your hat rotation and your hat collection. I'm like, I know I've seen that one before. I'm pretty sure you were wearing it the first time I streamed with you, and I really like it. It's one of my favorites.
It's been a while since I've worn this one.
It's a good one.
And Huggy says, why do I think I've seen this judge before? He was the judge in the Florida v. Matthew Terry, the Stabby McStab face trial, as I called it, where the guy, his girlfriend got a little bit too close to a guy in a bar and may have actually looked in his general direction. So her husband stabbed her, I think it was 19 times in the face, and then slit her throat, and then stabbed himself and ran out into the bushes to make it look like he was attacked too. Of course, he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. So yes, if you watched the Matthew Terry trial with me, this was the judge that was there. And King Ginger 333 says, how far away are we from the doggo cam? About $90. We're about $90 away from dog cam. All right, let's go.
Proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Thank you. If you'll follow the bailiff down to the ramp that leads up to the witness chair, please watch your step. Go ahead, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. The microphone in front of you is adjustable. You let me know when you're ready, and I'll allow the attorneys an opportunity to ask you some questions this point.
Was she afraid of the mic? Oh, there we go.
And just make sure it's on. Yes, it is.
Well, she's got some real 80s hair going on there. Like feathered.
Thank you. Will you please state your name and spell your last name?
Nancy Hager, Hager.
Ms. Hager, are you currently working or are you retired?
I'm retired.
Did you used to work at the sheriff's office?
I did.
What was your title when you were at the sheriff's office?
Crime scene investigator
How many years were you there?
at the sheriff's office.
At the sheriff's office.
22.
Do you have prior experience as well?
No,
So 22 years at the sheriff's
Can
office.
you
Were working
drive
for the sheriff's office
55,
back in
Nancy
2010?
Hagar?
I was.
As a crime scene investigator?
Yes, crime scene investigator detective.
Okay. Back then you guys used to call you were titled detectives, right?
Correct.
All right. Let's talk about December 4th of 2010, 9 o'clock in the morning at 4935 Bonita Drive. That address, date, and time sound familiar to you?
It does.
Did you respond to that address on Bonita Drive?
I did.
Had you met with detectives and other investigators prior to that to discuss what work would be done at that property?
Yes, I did.
Had you met at the district office?
Correct.
Everybody goes over to the Bonita Drive address essentially together.
Correct.
When you arrive there, do you have specific responsibilities on that property?
I did. Basically, I was going to be doing the east side of the property from the driveway, and Detective Cashwell was going to be doing the west side.
All right, and I'm going to show you a photograph that's already been moved into evidence. There's a screen behind you and to the left. This is 190A. Now, this photograph is taken facing south. So it's not as though you're looking at the photograph and left is west. Would you agree with me that this would then be the east side of the property?
Correct. You're saying that's Bonita Drive down there?
Bonita Drive right here?
Correct. That would be the east side.
Okay. The home that was the focus of not your search, but other search, was that in the back of the property?
Correct.
Now, when you talk about a driveway that's separating the property, are you referring to this road that runs right down the middle of that photograph?
Yes, that's it.
Now, looking at this photograph, there's a yardstick right in front of you, to your left. Sorry. Will you stand up and point to the area that you focused your search?
There's a ruler that you can use as a point.
Yes, right there.
A Reno 911 cop here.
The whole search, or
Let's start with the whole search and then we're going to work our way in.
Oh my God, it's Johnson. It's Clemmy.
Now, when we're getting
I
to
see
the
it.
items
I
of
love
evidence
it.
you ultimately collect, give me a tighter description of where approximately you located those items.
well, some of them were back here. There was a burn pile back here. Some of them, I think we found some items up in here. There's a double wide trailer, I believe, under the street somewhere.
All right, so we're going to focus our attention towards the back of that property and the burn pit that you find back there. You can go ahead and you can have a seat.
Oh, there's another burn pit in this one.
Oh yeah, there's two burn pits in this one, I think.
Okay.
Now, when you
I think there's just one burn pit.
Doing your search, your investigation.
Everybody
on the
has a
property,
burn pit.
Do you have detectives with you?
We did.
Do you have detectives who are kind of working side by side with you, but then off doing their own thing as well?
Correct.
Prior to you touching, moving, or disturbing anything, do you photograph it?
I do.
Do you take overall photographs, mid-range photographs, and close-up photographs?
Yes, we did.
Do you take them in that
Oh,
order?
There's still more
Are those
photographic
photos
evidence.
taken long before you ever touch anything?
They are.
What's the purpose of doing that?
It's basically to show from a distance where it's at, and then kind of mid-range gives you a little bit more focus on the item itself. and still where it's at, and then the item, just the item basically.
All right. I'm going to show you some other photographs that have been moved into evidence just to give you some perspective. 190D. Does that look familiar? You want me to go to a different photo? Okay. And then, did you have an opportunity prior to your testimony today to review some of the photographs that you took in this investigation?
I did.
Actually, yes, there were burnt clothes in the burn pit. Actually,
Little
The
deja
photographs that
vu.
you
yeah,
prior to your
not looking
testimony
good.
accurately reflect the area that you focused your search and some of the photographs that you took during those searches.
Yes, they did.
Oh, I
Those are
don't
the
remember
evidence
exactly what I
based
remember the
171,
case. I can't remember
170, 169,
who.
168.
Dang it.
167,
Yes and no.
166, and 165.
Her hair reminds me of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Nice. That's good.
No objection.
All right, those will be admitted at this time.
Permission to publish.
You may publish.
165. Detective Hager, tell us what we're looking at here.
That's the
I can't drive.
somewhat south end
165.
of the piece of property that I was responsible for.
Now, when we were looking at the overall aerial photograph with the road running up the middle of it, give us some perspective in terms of that larger piece of property where we are in this photograph. If you want, I can grab the other photograph for you.
Well, I was kind of on the property there, facing basically southwest a little bit towards the main house.
When we're talking about the main house, would this be the house at the top of the photograph, but actually the southernmost home on that property?
Yes, it would.
All right. 166. What are we looking at here?
More exciting
Basically the
photographs.
same thing, just a little bit further south. It's actually, they're kind of in sequence.
Do you have a shed in this picture that's almost a reference point to show the sequential order of the photographs?
I do, like you see.
All right, I'm going to show you 165 again. Is this the shed?
It is.
Okay. 166, is this the shed?
Yes, it is.
All right. 167. Now, before I ask you about the photographs, do you see the shed in this picture?
I do.
Is it underneath the trees, kind of in the shadow?
It is.
Right here?
Correct.
Now, give us some perspective what we're looking at in relation to the home and that shed.
Right there, I'm basically looking south. The home would be kind of to my right, in almost directly in front of those vehicles, but to the west from there.
To the west, to the west.
Do you put down evidence markers at some point?
Yes, I do.
168. Before we talk about the evidence markers, let me see if I can get this clear though. Hang on. I'm going to move it down a little. Yep, that helps. Do we see the same cars in the exhibit we're looking at as we just did in 167?
Yes,
Are you closer to those cars in this picture?
correct.
So in an overall perspective of this property, from that aerial view photograph, where would you be standing at the moment you're taking this picture?
Almost at the south end of the area that I did. I'm looking east. That's the southeast corner, way back there behind the vehicles.
You
Sounds
have
kind of
the
like
side of the
Bonnie
property,
Raitt.
You're at the
Her
southeast
voice.
side, looking towards that southeast corner,
Yeah,
essentially.
I'm actually almost to the midpoint of the driveway there where I'm actually would be standing to take the photo, and I'm looking east,
Thank you.
facing east.
Now, I'm going to scoot this picture up a little bit, and I want to focus on these evidence markers over here. Before we talk about what those are marking, why'd you focus on that area?
Well, before I put the markers down, there were some pieces of evidence that were found in that area.
Was there something in the area, either disturbed soil or something that drew your attention to that spot?
I believe that was a burn pit there.
Could you tell that based on some of the surrounding items, objects, materials?
Yes.
169. Same three evidence markers?
Yes, it is.
Now, in this photograph, have you walked closer to the cars and then turned around?
Correct.
Let's talk specifically about these evidence markers. And if you need a mid-range or overall, I can go back to them. 170. What are we looking at here?
Grass.
You want me to zoom in?
Yeah, I was just trying to see what. That's the 7.62 by 39 rounds.
Okay.
shell casings.
before we start talking specifically about that round, what did you find in evidence marker 3, 4, and 5?
Those rounds, I found a 45 caliber auto shell casing and some like burned plastic and some other cloth, I believe, some other items in it.
All right. Evidence marker 3.
Now I'm testing
Big item of
the
evidence.
noise
Are you
canceling
marking it
features
that
of my
marker?
microphone.
Major
Can you
refresh,
guys hear the
refresh,
dogs
refresh,
snoring? They're
refresh,
snoring
refresh.
loud as
Okay, I do. Okay.
I can't.
Oh, good. They're loud.
One of my
Major
cats
recollection
snores
Yeah.
All right. What is that evidence
really
marker
loudly.
3?
So
3 shell casings, spent shell casings, 7
feel you.
7.62 by 39.
So these are shell casings from a weapon that wasn't
Now, I want to
used
talk
in the
specifically
shooting.
about
That's good.
evidence marker 4. Did you find a 45 caliber cartridge casing at evidence marker 4?
I did.
And I'm showing you State's
Okay.
Exhibit
It was a
171.
45 caliber weapon that
Is that 45 caliber cartridge casing
That
marked
was
by
used
evidence
at
marker
the-
4?
It is.
scene of the crime.
Did you collect the cartridge casing at evidence marker 3 and the cartridge casing at evidence marker 4?
Correct.
Do you package those separately?
I do.
Why?
Well, because you don't want, if there's anything on them that you may want to swab or whatever, you don't want them touching each other inside. I mean, normally,
Ooh,
if they
saucy.
came from the same area, they may have the same.
Touching each other
Whatever it is.
inside.
In this case, it was a burn pile, but it may have the
Don't
same
take any
stuff on it.
chances.
Right, but you don't want to, so you're
Okay.
going to package it separately.
I fell
When you
into
package
a
those
burning
separately,
ring
do
of
you put
fire.
Seal, tape, your initials, and a label on each of those packages.
I do.
Are they uniquely identified?
Yes, they are.
Showing defense State's Exhibit 171A and 170A.
It was a hung jury the first time.
171A.
Okay.
So they had the trial, the jury hung, and reportedly it was 10 voted for acquittal and 2 voted for conviction, and they were hung and couldn't resolve it. So
Are they in the same or
mistrial was
substantially
declared,
similar
and then it went to
to
trial again.
All right, this time I'd ask to
here.
move an evidence was from pre-marked to State's Exhibit 170A as 170A.
Any objection?
No objection.
You said yeah, we did.
Showing you 171A. Oops, sorry. Do you recognize exterior packaging, initials, label, seal?
Yes, I do.
Have you had an opportunity to previously view the contents of State's Exhibit 171A?
Yes,
Is it all in the same or substantially same condition?
it is.
All right, this time I'd ask to move an evidence which was pre-marked to State's Exhibit 171A as 171A.
Was it two of them?
170A, 171A.
Are you doing both?
Both.
Any objection?
No objection.
Both give it.
Permission to publish.
Make both.
Thank you.
Taking the smaller interior package out of 171A. Put it up here. Do you recognize tape and initials that both belong to you and not belong to you?
I did. Yeah.
Is the additional set of information, both tape and initials, from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement? You want to take a look at it again?
I'd have to look again. Yes, that should be.
Is that common for you to see?
Yes, it is.
Is that information placed on this package when it's sent out for further analysis?
Yes, it is.
You have a moment, Your Honor?
Okay.
One last question for you. On 171A, what was the brand of the ammunition, the 45 caliber cartridge casing? Do you need to look at your report?
Please.
Go ahead. Let me know when you're ready to go. Your recollection refreshed.
Winchester.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You indicated that you searched this particular property on December 4th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that is the only time that you went to that property?
Correct.
And in describing the area, not just the property itself, the surrounding area as well, it's a very rural area.
It is.
And then obviously the property itself, same.
Correct.
You indicated that you were searching and you found pieces of evidence. But at that time, when you're doing this search, you're picking up items in which could potentially be relevant for the investigation. That's correct, right?
Correct.
So at this time, it wasn't evidence. It's just something that sticks out to you that could potentially assist in the investigation.
Correct.
And I'm going to reference, if I may approach, State's Exhibit. I have two just in case one needs to be more zoomed in based off my reference. This is State Exhibit 169. You testified that something stuck out to you prior to taking this photograph, which is why you took the photograph. Correct?
Correct.
You indicated near a burn pit. Can you use the yardstick and show us where that burn pit is?
Well, is there something a little closer?
I can show you State's Exhibit 168, which seems to be a little closer. Same items marked 3, 4, and 5. Can you please identify where that burn pit is?
That might not be considered a burn pit, but they were burned items.
So it was not found near a burn pit.
Well, I don't know if you want to call it a burn pit or not, but it was burned items and there were burned pits around the area, all over.
Okay, you just testified that they were near a burn pit, so I'm asking you to identify.
Correct. I can't tell from there.
So no burn pit in these photos in which you indicated were near.
There should be, but I can't tell.
So again, you're referencing what the items appeared to be rather than what they were near. Correct? Burned.
Correct. They were burned. They did appear to be burned.
And you were searching, I believe it was the east quadrant, is that correct?
Correct.
Or just the left side while Cashwell was doing the west or the right side?
Correct.
Were there, and you indicated there were other law enforcement officers, detectives that were assisting in the search?
There were.
And do you recall a grid search being conducted?
I do. Well, not a grid search. We did a line search.
Can you explain for the jurors what that means?
It's basically everybody lines up. You try to line up fingers to fingers so you can all see, and you just continue in one long line.
Did you assist in the search?
I did.
And after you did that search and when things were pointed out to you, that's when you were able to collect those 4 items, I believe it was, that you just testified to, the 4 casings. Is that correct?
Correct.
Whether it was through the grid search, somebody pointed out to you, but all of this was being done at the same time.
Correct.
And you indicated that there were other items. You mentioned fabric, cloth, plastic. Is that correct?
Objection, may we approach?
Yes.
Okay, approaching. Approach. We'll fast forward, listening to Insane Clown Posse.
And Ms. Hager, back to the casings that you found. There were 4 separate casings, and I believe that most, if not all, were identified in that photograph I showed you, correct?
Correct.
Marked with, I believe it was 3, 4, and 5, or 3 and 4.
Correct.
You do not know where these casings came from, correct?
Right where they were sitting.
Well, can you testify today that they were shot in that area?
No, I couldn't testify where they were shot.
So then you cannot say where they came from.
No, but that's where they were found, right?
Right. So on December 4th, you found them there.
Correct.
On December 4th. You cannot say if they came December 3rd, December 2nd, if they were placed there, if they were shot, right?
No, I cannot.
Right.
You also cannot testify who shot them.
I cannot.
And if I may just have one more moment, Your Honor.
All right. Yeah, we need to. Thank you for reminding me. We need to put the cage up there. We're all caged up.
That's better.
Detective Hager, on cross you asked if you found 4 casings. It's 2 casings, right? 2 casings in that burn pit.
There were actually 3 7.62 by 3.9 and 1 45.
And so when we're talking about, and I should have said 2 types of casings. We've got the
I can
3
see that.
that are the same caliber and then 1 45 caliber.
That's correct.
And let's talk specifically about the 45 caliber. Was that cartridge casing burned or charred?
It was.
Were you able to see that when you photographed it and collected it?
I was.
Were there other items, and I want to talk specifically about those items, but were there other items surrounding that 45 caliber cartridge casing that also appeared to you to have previously been burned?
Objection.
Legal basis?
If we may approach.
Yes.
More approaching.
You just got a lot of shots of him looking bored. Like,
Yeah.
and the defense, or subject to recall? You can step. You're stepping down now. We just don't know whether you're going to be subject to recall or not yet.
Subject to recall, Your Honor.
All right. You don't have to stick around outside, but there's a possibility we may call you over the next 2 weeks to have you come back. Thank you. And I'll ask the state to please call your next witness.
The state would call Jason Brando.
Brando?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jason Brando. All right. And while we're waiting for Jason Brando to come, Flux says, ha ha ha, if we both take off the glasses, defense attorney and me, she definitely turns into a 10. Ha, definitely smash. Go get her, Flux. And Dave123 says, what did Legal Vice put behind him? His toy collection? That's kind of funny.
Mr. Brando, good morning and welcome. If you'll raise your right hand to be sworn as a witness, thank you. Do you swear affirm any testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You'll follow the bailiff down to the ramp that leads up to the witness chair. Please watch
These are some of my figurines from
Go ahead, have a seat.
Dark
Make yourself
Souls
comfortable. That
games.
microphone in front of you adjusts.
I have more out in the
Welcome.
living room and whatnot. But yeah, very expensive toys.
You may proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Brando.
Good morning.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, my name is Jason Brando.
And how are you currently employed?
I am a project manager for Spartan Contracting Corporation.
And how long have you been doing that?
Approximately 5 years.
Was that your position back in 2010?
No.
What was your position specifically back in November of 2010?
I was a crime scene investigator with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
And what were your duties?
As a crime scene investigator, our duties are to respond to the crime scenes at the request of the detective or patrol supervisor. We document the crime scenes through photography, note-taking, evidence collection, documentation, such things like that.
And how long were you a crime scene investigator with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
I was with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office approximately 13 years.
Did you have any special educational background or training in order to maintain that position with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I graduated St. Louis University with a criminology degree. I then was a crime laboratory technician with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Once I had that position was over, I then was a crime scene investigator with the Tampa Police Department, where I had numerous hours as a crime scene investigator trainee, learning how to take photography, evidence processing techniques, surface skeletons, buried bodies, just numerous processing and photography classes throughout my career at the Tampa Police Department before I went to the Sheriff's Office, where I continued to have the same type of training.
And did you take continuing education classes while you held those positions as a crime scene investigator?
Yes.
Were you requested to assist in a homicide investigation involving Mr. Michael KEETLEY, specifically on November 28th of 2010?
Yes.
And what were you specifically requested to do?
I was called to the residence of Mr. KEETLEY to document his residence and collect evidence.
Do you recall the address that you responded to do that?
I can look at my report.
Would that refresh your memory as
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
address?
Yes, ma'am. The address was 4935 Bonita Drive.
And do you recall approximately what time on November 28th that you responded there?
I believe it was in the morning.
And did you meet with anybody when you responded there?
Yes, there's Detective Lugo and another crime scene investigator as well.
When you responded there on the 28th, were you aware that the search warrant had been securing that scene the night before, and that crime scene investigator went and took photographs the night before just of the outside, and then the search was going to be done the next day during the daytime with daylight?
Yes.
Were you involved at all on the 27th and the nighttime involved with documenting the outside at all of the residents?
No.
As far as you were aware of when you responded there on the 28th in the morning, had any search been done of the actual property, or was it just secured?
To my knowledge, it was just secured.
And did you all respond back in the daytime because it's easier to see things in the daylight than it is in the nighttime?
Yes.
Did you work with any other crime scene investigators when you were there on November 28th of 2010?
Yes, Detective Second.
And is that common practice when you're dealing with a large area that you need to document and collect evidence from?
Yes.
What's the first thing that you do when you arrive on scene? Let me step back for a moment. When you were there and you said Detective Lugo was there, were the other supervisors there as well?
Yes.
And are you provided an initial debriefing as to what you're going to be doing and what potential items you may be looking for to photograph, document, and ultimately collect?
Yes.
And what is the first thing that you do when you arrive there after you are debriefed?
So once we debrief, I then walk the residents, both exterior and interior, just so I get an idea of how am I going to process the scene. Okay, once I do that, I then get my camera and then document the scene through photography. In this case, I did general overalls of the exterior, then I did overalls of the interior, and document evidence collected as well.
When you do the walkthrough, do you touch anything, remove anything, or touch anything as you walk through?
No.
And what's the purpose of the walkthrough?
It's showing the current conditions when I got to the scene. So I document the scene as seen by myself when I get there.
And you take overall photographs, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then do you take close-ups of items that you ultimately believe could have evidentiary value and potentially that you're going to collect?
Yes, as well as a detective on search warrants. Detectives know more about the case sometimes than the crime scene investigators. So they'll point out items of evidence that they know through their investigation what needs to be collected as well.
And there had been a search warrant, a court order obtained the day previously in order to conduct a search of the defendant's home. Is that correct?
Correct.
When you take photographs and ultimately collect items of evidence, do you know when you are taking those photographs and you do collect those items, whether or not they do in fact contain evidentiary value related to a case?
Yes and no. Sometimes you collect things that you don't know it's linked to the case until later on through testing or whatever. But yes and no.
Are there things that you could document that may not have any evidentiary value?
Yes.
And are there things that you do document that do have evidentiary value?
Yes.
And did you take a number of photographs in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you previously viewed some of the photographs that you took that are going to be introduced here at trial this morning?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Taking too long. Time to move ahead.
A lot of lulls in this trial.
There are. So we surprisingly get through a lot. There's a picture of a dog. All right.
For the record purposes, defense counsel has looked at the photographs, and we're going to go one by one, Mr. Brando, through these photographs. And you have previously looked at them this morning, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, the state would be introducing State's Exhibit 100 as well as 101.
No, sir.
Those will be admitted.
Permission to publish, Judge?
May.
And can I have a standing permission to publish once they're admitted?
Once they're admitted, you may publish them.
Mr. Brando, I'm publishing State's Exhibit 101. Is this a photograph that had been taken at nighttime, the night before the execution of your search warrant?
Yes.
And was crime scene Ramirez the crime scene investigator that was out there that night?
Yes.
And is this just document the outside of the home, the residence at 4935 Bonita Drive,
Yes, ma'am.
as well as State's Exhibit 101? Is this another nighttime photograph of when the residence was actually secured?
Yes.
And when a residence is secured, does that mean no one will enter or exit that residence? It's under law enforcement's protection at that time
Yes.
in order for it to be reviewed, documented, and potential evidence to be collected.
Correct.
Introducing at this time, Judge, State's Exhibit 142, 144, 143, 143A, 143B, 143C, 189A, 189B, 189C, 145, and 146. That's correct.
No objection to that.
All of those will be admitted at this time.
Oh, good. We don't
Mr.
have to go
Brando,
through
you
them one
responded
at a
during the
time.
daytime, publishing State's Exhibit 142. What are we looking at here?
That's just the exterior entrance into the main residence at the location.
And 144.
Same thing. That's just the side view of the residence.
And on the right side of this photograph, is that still the defendant's property where ultimately some vehicles were documented by you?
Yes, ma'am.
143. What are we looking at here?
Again, just another overall of the residence. We take numerous overalls from various different angles to show any perspectives of the house.
143A. Was this one of the vehicles that was located on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
143B. Another vehicle that was located?
Yes, ma'am.
Were there numerous vehicles located on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
143C. Is this another photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
You can also see the blue van that we had seen in the prior photograph.
Yes, the blue truck. Yes.
Sorry, yes, the blue truck. 189A. Is this another vehicle that was located on the property?
Yes.
And was the inside of that vehicle documented?
Yes.
189B.
Yes.
Looking at the front
Okay.
seat of the vehicle.
Yes, ma'am. Front driver's side.
And 189C. Is that same white truck?
Yes, ma'am. Rear driver's side.
145. What are we looking at here?
This is the ice cream truck that was on the back side of the residence.
And 146. Is this a close-up of a document that was taped to that purple ice cream truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you find similar documents to this item in the house when you conducted a search of the home?
Yes, ma'am.
This time, the state would introduce State's Exhibit 103A, 103B, 103, 104A, 104B, and 102.
Yes, sir. All those be admitted.
Mr. Brander, we're going to now go into the home in the foyer area when you enter the home. Publishing State's Exhibit 103A. Is this the foyer, a photograph of the foyer area?
Yes.
And I'm going to specifically point to an item that was on the floor of the residence that had a black plastic bag with Winchester written on the top of that. Do you see that item there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you take a photograph of a close-up of that item?
Yes, ma'am.
(103B). Is this the close-up photograph that you took of that item?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you tell us what that item is?
This is a wrapper package from our target practice.
A target that you use like a shooting target, is that correct?
Correct.
Still located in the foyer area. Is this an overall of the foyer, State's Exhibit 103?
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit 104A. Are we still in the foyer?
Yes, ma'am.
And are these shoes that were located just inside the front door foyer area?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 104B, a close-up of some black tie boots or shoes.
Yes, ma'am.
And 102, is this also another overview just showing further over to the right side of that foyer area?
Yes, ma'am.
State would offer into evidence State's Exhibit 106, 105, and 106A, Judge, would be the living room.
Any objection?
Yes, we need approach.
Yes, you may.
Okay. We like to approach. God, this is day 3 of just putting in pictures and other things.
And photograph.
Yes.
And I'm going to direct your attention over here to the left side, left bottom corner of that photograph. Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
Is that item open?
Yes.
I'm now going to show you. Is that how you found this room to be in that specific item
Yes.
when you entered it?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked as
Ow.
State's Exhibit 106A for identification purposes. Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
Is it a fair and accurate copy of how specifically the item in the lower left corner looked after you touched it?
Yes. So prior to collection, like I was mentioned before, the detectives.
And I'll ask you
Okay.
to follow up, but just for identification
Yes.
purposes before we introduce the item, did you in fact close that item?
Either myself or a detective did, but I photographed it prior to to collect it. Yes.
And did you review the number order of your photographs this morning prior to coming in to testify?
Yes.
And was in fact this item in your order number of photographs, was it in fact open before any closed photographs of it were taken?
Yes, ma'am.
State offers an evidence, State's Exhibit 105, 106, and 106.
Any objection?
Just what we talked about.
Nothing. All right, it'll be admitted. They will be admitted.
Publishing 105. Mr. Brando, is this an overview of the living room area of the defendant's home?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to draw your attention specifically to the left corner of this photograph. What are we looking at there?
In this photograph, again, is an overall photograph of the living room. To the far side is obviously the beginning of the kitchen area. On the bottom left-hand side of the corner of the photo is a laptop that's open with a router or hotspot type device attached to it.
And is that how you, in fact, found that laptop when you entered into that residence on the morning of November 28th?
Yes.
It was in the open position?
Yes, ma'am.
Publishing 106. Is this then moving a little bit further over to the left side of the living room?
So basically, I'm standing on the opposite side of the room now. Like I said, we're talking about documenting the crime scene. We try to take 4 corners of each room to show the perspective of each corner. And this is myself now standing towards that corner of that kitchen area, facing back towards the living room. Yes, ma'am.
And State's Exhibit 106A is this. Are we still in the living room?
Yes, ma'am.
And the laptop is now closed. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did you document that that laptop was closed by either you or another supervisor that was there assisting you in your collection?
Correct.
And you documented that also there was a hotspot placed on top of that laptop. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Were those items ultimately collected by you?
Yes.
First witness, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Brando, for identification purposes, if you may want to stand up.
What's in the box?
Absolutely. Come on down.
Make sure.
Yeah, no problem. You can stand right next to it.
I'm showing you what's been pre-marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 107. Do you recognize this item?
Yes.
As well as the original packaging.
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you recognize the original packaging?
When we submit items into evidence, we have to seal it with evidence tape, and in doing so, we also
it's gift wrap.
We sealed it, our initials and our identification number. In this case, here's
So
the
cute.
original packaging showing the black nylon bag, the router or hotspot, and also the laptop computer.
And was the laptop and the hotspot ultimately packaged in the same packaging?
As well as the nylon bag as well, yes.
And the laptop computer bag, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm going to show you what's now been pre-marked as State's Exhibit 203. Do you recognize this specific item?
Yes.
And was this item, is it in the same or substantially the same condition as it was on the date that you collected it?
Yes, ma'am.
State offers an evidence, and the laptop computer, was that also is it in the same or substantially the same condition as it was on the date that you collected it?
Yeah, other than the markings from the state lab, but yes, everything else is the same.
State offers an evidence, State's Exhibit 107 as well as 203.
Can I very quickly for clarification?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be admitted to this case.
Thank you.
Permission to publish, Judge.
You may publish, yes.
Mr. Brand, I'm going to ask for your assistance. If you can take State's Exhibit 107, the laptop out, and publish it to the jury. Now, you stated that there's markings on the outside pink packaging that had your markings, and now it also has other state agencies such as the Florida Department of Law Enforcement markings.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so those would have been placed on if it had been sent out for further testing. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. If you could, please. Thank you. And then the writing on the outside of the top of the laptop, was that placed by you, or is that placed by an agency that would have done testing?
Another agency.
And now, Judge, if I can publish a State's Exhibit 203 up on the Elmo.
Elmo.
Now, as a crime scene investigator, do you conduct any forensic testing on the laptop, or is that done by somebody else?
That's done by somebody else.
Publishing State's Exhibit 203. Is this the Verizon hotspot that you had documented and photographed and then ultimately collected with the laptop.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll now move into another area of the home that is just off of the living room. States Exhibit 108, 119, 196, 197, 121, 110, 109, 112, 114, 113, 120, 120A, 111, 118, 118A, 118B, 118C, 122, and 123.
No objection.
All of those will be admitted. And I'm assuming, Ms. Johnson, you're going to go through all those with him now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take our morning break then before we do that.
All right,
Ladies
good.
and gentlemen of the jury, please not discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Please not do any research related to the case and avoid all reports of the case outside of the courtroom. Have a nice morning break. All rise for the jury.
All right, let's take a breather here from that exciting testimony. Whew.
So
Gotta make-
thrilling.
To calm down there, get the blood pressure down a little bit, let the heart rate drop.
I need a fan.
I got the vapors from all that excitement. There's just too much excitement going on. It gives me the vapors. All right. Well, while we're chilling here, let's clear off the two super chats we've got. The two $2 super chats. Well, one $2, one £2. Nick Campbell says, new poll idea. I hit this option because it's first. Well, I just may have to use that one. Stay tuned tomorrow to see. Oh, I almost cucked myself. Let's get one of these years. I'll get used to this branding banner shit. Boom. All right. There we go. Yeah. All right. So stay tuned. That could very well show up in a poll soon. And Samuel Reynolds says every hoarder house has at least one mummified cat. At
Not
least
alive.
one. Did y'all hear about the hoarding story a couple of weeks ago? That house had a mummified husband.
Oh God, no, really?
We didn't hear about that. Yeah, it was some
Mm-mm.
horrific hoarder woman's house. Her husband left her, and turns out he didn't actually leave her. Part of the hoarding stuff like collapsed on him, and they just found his mummified corpse like 8 or 9 months later.
You know, it's not the first time I've heard a story like that. It's kind of horrifying.
Yes, mummified husband in the closet.
Oh, geez, that's I don't even know what to
Dumped
say
himself,
about that.
didn't he? I can't remember if something fell on him or he deleted himself. But yeah.
I mean, something
it was
probably
just-
did fall on him because, you know, considering the state of things, it's been known to happen. Yikes.
Yeah. It was kind of, yeah, he deleted himself. That's what I thought. Yeah, in the closet, and it's just like the husband left, and then I mean, ordinarily you'd have the horrific smell of rotting and decaying flesh, but apparently it kind of mummified, and the rest of the house just smelled so bad you didn't really smell it. So yeah, mummified cats and mice, that's a good thing.
I'm sorry, I don't have
Yeah,
anything witty to say. That is just horrifying. I'm just
Yep.
processing that information and picturing the scene, and now I have an indelible imprint of a visual that I never wanted to
Yeah.
imagine. Thank
It
you.
doesn't
very
smell when
much.
it's dry, but it takes a while to dry out.
Oh, boy.
Beef jerky mummy. Yeah, and the cops searched 3 times. That is correct. Like, nothing to see here. And Renee Mate says, take my money, my mummified sub, and doesn't need it anymore. All right. Thank you so much. Snakes too, depending on where they are. Yeah. All right. Well, so where does that put us? I'm looking at the grand scheme of things here. Well, that puts us 25% of the, well, it's a little more than 20, about exactly 25% of the way to dog cam. A little bit more. We're about 1/3 of the way to dog cam. So there we go. Thank you so much for those super chats. Again, it's not the most exciting stuff here. They better get all these damn pictures in soon. They better get all this damn evidence in soon, because this is just crushing my soul. And it's crushing your soul because currently we only have 275 people here, but 218 of you have taken, have hit the like button, and somehow about 30 people more have taken the poll than have hit the actual subscribe and like. So have you smashed the subscribe button? 23% of you said, I am. I guess I phrased that wrong. I have, and I checked to see if I still am. 36% of you said yes, and you also hit the like button, and 40% of you said, I have. Let's get to 37,000 subs. Well, let's see what's happened here in the last hour and however many minutes I said a second ago. Currently, we are at 36,005 subscribers. Cool. Only 995 more to get to 37,000. Woo, we can do it today. Come on, hit that subscribe button. All right. That's it. Let's get back to Judgy McJudge face here. Where are we? There we are. Boop. And we'll go for about another 30, 40 minutes. Let's see, how long do we have until the lunch break? Oh, the lunch break is there. I mean, there's so much of this trial is like in front of the judge, in front of the judge and sidebars and shit. Well, yeah, we might be able to burn through this. Let's see if we can get through the morning session.
While we were talking about,
We don't care about your banter.
Jury is present and seated. Everyone else may be seated at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, jury, welcome back.
Did any of you hear anything? No.
State Exhibit 108. Which room are we into now?
This is the interior of the kitchen.
That's a really ugly kitchen.
And
It's an ugly
119.
house, yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
like I mentioned before, we just take overall photographs of the kitchen. This is another photograph.
No,
And just to orient ourselves at this point, I'm pointing to the right center of the photograph. And what is off of the kitchen? What is this area that I'm pointing to?
It's like a makeshift bedroom.
All right, let's see here. We've got I believe are those like Nutri-Grain bars? These are like Nutri-Grain bars with some Lay's potato chips up there. Definitely can't fault him for liking Chips Ahoy. Bonus points for Chips Ahoy. Okay, what do you think? I'm thinking there's like about a 98.9% chance those are all fake fruits.
Like the wax fruits? Quite possibly.
Yeah, like the plastic or waxing or whatever they are.
I go 60-40 on the fake fruit.
Well, let's see what else appears to be some prescription meds there. Some Jiffy, got some probably some Jiffy muffin mix. It looks like it's got a muffin mix look ball box to it.
Something like that.
Yeah. That's probably a Christmas pot holder from about 1974. What else can we see in this guy? I feel like I'm snooping in somebody's house. It's great. All right, I guess that's about it. And see, it's this tablecloth. If it was just like a plain white tablecloth, it wouldn't look half as cluttered.
Yeah, there are some serious interior design issues with the owner of this home. They need an upgrade. The cabinets are very 90s. It's not a cute look.
Yeah.
At least the
Vaseline?
fruit is
Oh, yeah.
organized, though.
Yeah, there is some Vaseline there. Empty
Whatever.
Mr. Noodle Pack. Where's he?
You throw everything in the kitchen. I don't know why.
Is this a Mr. Noodle Pack here? Huh. All right. Anyway, that's enough of us checking out his kitchen.
Did you also document that area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I want to continue to stick with the kitchen, publishing 196.
Let's stick
Are
with
you
the kitchen.
taking overalls, kind of going around in a circle of the kitchen?
Yes, ma'am.
And 197, what are we looking at here?
Just the overall of the kitchen table.
121, is this still the kitchen area, the area between the kitchen and living room?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is this on the poster on the back of the door?
Another shooting target.
What?
What is that doing there? That's
And
so weird.
110.
Again, just another overall of the kitchen.
And over to the right side of the photograph, is that leading out near the front door area?
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit 109. Is this also the area of the photograph kitchen?
Yes, ma'am.
And back behind this bar area, is that where the living room is?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to draw your attention to the corner area of this kitchen counter. Do you see that item that I'm pointing to on the kitchen counter there on the corner?
Yes, ma'am.
Is 112 a close-up of that item?
Yes.
And what is that?
A composition notebook.
Did you ultimately collect that?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you document what was inside of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Publishing 114. What are we looking at here?
This is just an interior photograph of what was written inside the composition notebook.
And 113, is that the top page of that first page in the composition notebook?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and where Bion is written up at the top and 507 Ocean Mist?
Yes, ma'am.
Everything like Ocean Mist, I was like, just think of like Capri Sun or something.
One of those cranberry juice cocktails.
Yeah.
with vodka
Ocean
in it.
Mist. Yeah.
Something with like grapefruit and
Umbrella, like a slice of pineapple.
Mhm.
Yeah, gotta have coconut in it too.
Hmm.
Oh damn, he had a manifesto.
You may.
Mr. Brando, I'm showing you what's been identified as State's Exhibit 115. You can look inside this without taking it out.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize the item inside?
Yes.
And is it in the same or substantially the same condition as it was on the date that you collected on November 28th of 2010?
Yes.
State offers an evidence, State's Exhibit 115, Judge.
Be admitted at this time.
Permission to publish?
You may publish it.
Mr. Brando, this is the actual composition book that was collected from the corner of that
Wow, I
kitchen
haven't seen one
countertop.
of
Is
those
that
for a
correct?
while.
Yes, ma'am.
It's so vintage looking.
Opening it up, we have on the left side the hardcover, and then on the right side the paper. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That we had previously just shown the photograph of.
Yes, ma'am.
Whoa,
Now, when you had
whoa,
collect-
whoa. MySpace?
I noticed
This
that
is
also.
old. Yeah. Wow. Of course, this did occur in 2010.
I feel like
But I guess that was
MySpace was kind of over in 2010. I feel like it was like Facebook was the thing at that time, but who knows? I mean,
yeah, so this was like the death throes of MySpace.
That there was not staining on this item. Is that correct?
Correct.
If further testing, do you conduct any work on items to potentially try to collect latent fingerprints?
Yes.
And did you do that specifically with this item?
Yes, I did.
Are there any things that you do in order to document how the item looks prior to conducting any further testing on it?
Yes.
And how do you do that?
So before any type of processing technique is done, we either photograph or scan the item. In this case, since there is handwriting on this page, I scan the document in before processing for any like fingerprints. In this case, I used a chemical called anhydrine, which acts the amino acids on your fingerprints, and I got some results.
Mr. Brandon, I'm showing you what's been pre-marked as State's Exhibit 115A, 115B, and 115C. Do you recognize these?
Yes.
And are they fair and accurate copies of the composition notebook that you took?
Yes, there's one before and after as well.
State offers an evidence, State's Exhibit 115A, B, and C.
We've discussed this before.
They'll be admitted at this time.
No problem.
Permission to publish, Judge?
No problem.
You
I'm
may
going to start with
publish.
115C. Is this simply a photograph taken of the left side cover?
Yes, it's actually a scan. It's a scan after the processing technique of using anhydrine.
Okay. And so let's talk about how you go about putting the 9-hydrin on and what you do in order to see if you are able to ultimately collect any prints off of an item.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, an anhydrine reacts to the amino acids left on your fingerprints. Okay, your fingerprints are made up of 98% water. The other 2% is oils, acids.
Not holding it
proteins,
ransom.
things like that. And so
It's just a
chemical
perk.
reacts to those amino acids left on your fingerprints. And in this case, I applied a dip to the page here, excuse me, and I ended up getting results.
When you say you applied a dip to the page, what do you mean by that?
I applied the anhydrine is liquid, so I dip the book into the anhydrine chemicals, and then it takes a
Searching
process
for invisible ink,
like
develop. Lemon juice writing.
Time it could be instant, or it could take a day or so. Once those results are obtained, then we document those results.
And is that why this document appears to have been wet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's from the 9-hydrin. Is that correct?
Correct.
Publishing states 115C. This is the left back cover of that item. Can we see on this document where you got any results?
Yes, ma'am. There's potential results on the top of this page.
And I'm pointing to where the Scholar New York is stated, and there's some pink markings on the top right. Is that where the 9-hydrin reacted?
Yes, ma'am.
And when it reacts, is that the results that it leaves? And what does that mean to you?
It does. Over time, it dissipates. So you can imagine, 10 years ago when this was processed, it was a more purplish color. It's called rudiment purple. But after time, it dissipates. So as crime scene investigators, our responsibility is to process this item. There's another division who actually does the analysis. So if we see any type of rich detail, we'll go ahead and document it just like this, and we give those results over to our latent print examination team.
And when a print is lifted and it's not identified, is that what's normally termed a latent print?
Yes, there's latent and patent prints. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so those markings that were left behind by the chemical, you ultimately sent that off for further potential identification. Is that correct?
Correct.
You don't conduct any kind of comparison or identification to say these prints are in fact someone's. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Publishing 115B. Was there also a latent print that was lifted from this page?
Yes, and the latent prints on paper don't get lifted.
I apologize.
It's okay. They get documented through photography or scanning.
And so this scan is then sent off for comparison purposes. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the ruler that's documented in this scan, was that placed there by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And states 115A, is this what the scan looked like before any 9-hydrin was placed on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, the fingerprints looked cool.
We're still in the kitchen, Mr. Brando, and I'm
Yeah.
going to publish States Exhibit 120. What are we looking at here?
This is part of like the kitchen counter area. You have a microwave to your right.
Probably.
You have
We can't tell if there's a counter under there or
miscellaneous
not.
items on top of that.
Did you photograph and collect items that were on that printer?
Yes, ma'am.
States 120A. Is this a document?
Yes, ma'am.
She wants to ask a question. She can. I have no objection.
You want to move it in this time?
I would move in States Exhibit 120B, Judge.
It'll be admitted.
Mr. Brando, did you previously look at the documents, again, prior to trial to ensure that the documents you ultimately collected on 9/28, 2010 are in fact the same documents that were brought here to court today?
Yes.
Publishing States Exhibit 120B. What are we looking at here?
This
Something
is the
blurry.
Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office arrest inquiry. You could go online and print inquiries out like this.
And this is for specifically someone by the name of Armando Guerra.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Okay.
these are the documents that you found on top of that printer. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Aha. He's printing out criminal records.
And with a printout date on the bottom of April 12th of 2010.
Yes, ma'am.
And these are other individuals
Does he
that
have a room with
been
like 3x5
printed out
index
from
cards
the
and
printer.
lots
Is
of
that
yarn
correct?
all
Other
over the
individuals with
place?
different names?
Yes, ma'am.
Publishing 118. Is this the kitchen table? Or I'm sorry, the bar area?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I got to do this again. Why not? Because we're entertained. Okay, has a rock garden here. That's kind of interesting, like a little rock fountain thing with the. Oh, it's plugged in even. Wow. So he's got a little rock fountain here. Never have enough M&Ms. He has pets. He has like chewy milk bones over here. A little dog. Yeah, it looks a little dog thing. Q-tips.
Orville Redenbacher.
Cute. Yeah, I saw the Orville Redenbacher over there. Some Ziploc bags and some sort of yellow thing, perhaps Fig Newtons back there.
It's like a depressing game of I Spy.
It is. And wow, how long y'all think these phone books have been there?
Ancient.
How long do y'all think telephone books have been? Well, okay, again, this was 2010. I keep forgetting this isn't 2023. Okay, so we'll forgive him for the phone books in 2010. I was being judgmental. Looks like we have those almost are almost big enough to be 4 1/4 inch floppy disks. Also, let's just hope they're like the 3.5 inch discs. All right. Well, that's kind of satisfied my curiosity.
How big were his floppy disks, I wonder?
Well, that's a rather personal question. Rock Fountain and Fig Newtons, bruh, that's sus.
It is an odd smattering of objects. I mean, I don't understand what the rock fountain is. It's like, what purpose do any of these objects have? It's just everything is clutter. It's very chaotic. It's making me anxious.
Oh, that's right. They were 5 1/4. That's right.
No, it's a little more impressive.
It's been so long ago. They were 5 1/4. All right. Well, let's get. I think we actually have. Anyway,
I'm going to orient you to this piece of paper that looks like it's next to a rock fountain.
Yes, ma'am.
The Fountain of Rock.
118A. Is that a close-up of that paper?
Yes, ma'am.
And 118C, is that what the paper
Fair
looked
enough.
like open up?
Yes, ma'am.
A photograph of that, an individual?
Wait, I
Yes,
forgot to
ma'am.
read. I forgot to read the one super chat. Chandler, it's vintage looking. Opens notebook. Okay. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's back to our regularly scheduled program.
Be Hispanic? Still within the kitchen, publishing 122. What are we looking at here?
This is the interior of like his pantry doors.
Why do I do this? Okay, flashlight, some what's that? Cantaloupe, something or other. Looks like a cantaloupe. Got some dried cranberry stuff here. Lots of vitamins, more dog treats, a fountain pump. I bet you that's for the. I hope it's for the rock garden. Fast pain relief, sports cream, ultra strength muscle rub. He does have some injuries that he needs to tend to. So nothing too sus in here. Some vitamin B, complex vitamins. Hot pot. Okay, there is something sus in here. Who can identify what is suspect in this picture? It's like one of these things does not belong in this picture. Can you all see what it is? Yes, you got it. The Dread Pirate Wesley. A whole pie is in the shelf here.
That's an odd place to put a pie. Wow.
There's just a random pie in here.
What kind of pie? Is it a
looks like
cherry pie?
It It looks to be like I'm blowing it up. It looks to either be an apple or cherry pie because it has some crisscrossed crust on top.
The lattice, like a
Yeah.
cobbler of sorts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So looks like Wesley, the Dread Pirate Wesley, got it first.
Well, there was
In the
obviously no
midst of
counter space to put that pie on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just in the middle of all this, there's just a pie in there.
No clue.
All right. Well, I guess we can go through these super chats. We don't have to stream them for later. Corn Pop says, Creed, bro. Now, see that now when he goes to the sidebar and he's like listening to his headphones, I'm going to think he's listening to Creed and not Insane Clown Posse. Nick Campbell, plot twist. He kept track of registered SOs, so if he saw them with kids, he could Dexter them. Okay. I also keep pies in my medicine cabinet. Okay, Grip.
Well, they're medicinal pies.
Probably one of those candle pies people make. They have candle pies. Sometimes
Like
I'm so glad I live in Korea.
A candle
never heard
that
of a
looks like a
candle
pie, or I'm very confused.
Okay, I don't feel bad because you don't know what a pie candle is either.
I have no idea.
Max Schmidt, Vice as well. Always have a pie next to your sports cream. I see what you did there. Dirty, dirty man. All right.
And I'm going to draw your attention to the bottom left-hand corner of that photograph.
Yes, ma'am.
And a close-up of that item, State's Exhibit 123. What are we looking at?
This is a gun magazine or gun clip.
Was that ultimately collected by you?
Yes, ma'am.
At least the Vaseline wasn't by the pie.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk to the judge some more. See, now he's listening to Creed. First day he was listening to NWA, Fuck the Police. Then he was listening to Insane Clown Posse yesterday. Today it's Creed, apparently.
Inside 120. Mr. Brando, I'm showing you what's been pre-marked as State's Exhibit 123A for identification purposes. Do you recognize the item inside?
Yes.
As well as the packaging within?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is this item in the same or substantially the same condition as it was on the date that you
That's
collected
a good
on November
horror
28th
movie.
of
The
2009?
packaging
Yes,
within.
State offers an evidence, State's Exhibit 123A.
Nice title. Yeah, I like that.
Permission to publish, Judge? What are we looking at here, Mr. Brando?
This is the Glock magazine that was found in the kitchen pantry.
What caliber is it?
45 caliber.
So is this the stamp on the end of the magazine that shows it as a Glock?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a G-lock, baby.
And .45 showing it's a 45 caliber.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any firearm found near this magazine?
Not that I can recall.
At any time during your search of the KEETLEY residence on November 28th, did you ever find a Glock handgun that could have been attached to this magazine?
No.
And was that magazine empty when you found it?
Can I go my notes?
If looking at your notes would refresh your memory.
Yes, ma'am.
Refresh.
Do you package?
There was 6 live rounds in the magazine.
Okay. And is that empty? Do you package rounds that you find in a magazine separate from the magazine?
Yes.
Moving on to the makeshift bedroom that was located off of the kitchen, State's Exhibit 124, 127, 125, 126, 130, 128, 129, 132, 132A. State offers those into evidence at this time.
Are those not the ones that were admitted before the break?
No, Judge.
Okay. Did you want to take a look at them?
Yes, I'm sorry, just double check.
No objection. They'll be admitted.
Brando, publishing 124. Is this photograph taken from within the kitchen looking into this room off of the kitchen?
Yes, ma'am.
127. Is this a picture of that room?
Yes, ma'am.
125. Again, another picture in that room.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to draw your attention. There appears to be like a white shelving that's holding some clothes. And I'm going to point to the top first compartment of that white piece of furniture. And is there, did you take a close-up photograph of the item that I'm pointing to in the top center of that photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it?
Publishing 126. What is that item towards the top compartment of that makeshift closet?
That'd be a shotgun.
Okay.
State's Exhibit 130. Is the shotgun, was it removed and opened and placed on the bed?
No.
Jesus, what the hell's going on here?
This-
All right. Wow. Iris, there's such a mess. I can't see anything other than this apparent. Fuck knows what that is. If anyone can identify that particular type of firearm, is this the pump action 45 thing? It can't be, because there doesn't seem to be a pump on it, and don't think that weapon was ever found. That's just a messy ass house. This guy's got a lot of rooms, but kudos, he does have a barometer up here in the other right hand corner, so he can check the atmospheric pressure and determine whether it's going to rain or not. Good for him. Huh.
Looks like a hospital
This
bed.
gun is
Interesting.
different from the one that you had photographed
Yes,
up
ma'am.
in the closet.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what are we looking at here on the bed?
That is a 22 caliber rifle that was found on the bed.
Okay.
What kind of firearm in State's Exhibit 120?
It's got a weird
was that?
stock on it.
That is a shotgun.
That is a weird stock on that
These
22.
were all located in the this bedroom. Is that correct, where it's documented?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing 128. I'm going to draw your attention. This is also within that same bedroom that's off of the kitchen.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to draw your attention to the center of the photograph, a black round object. What is that?
That is a drum that holds multiple rounds of ammo.
And then down at towards the bottom
Sweet.
of this photograph, what is this item that is covered up by a pair of brown pants?
That is a gun case.
Ultimately, was that collected?
Yes.
What's in the gun case? What's in the fucking gun
129.
case?
Is this a close-up of that drum?
Yes, ma'am.
What is a drum?
Again, it's a drum. it's a larger drum that holds multiple rounds of ammo. This one is a 100-round drum. So instead of a magazine or a clip holding 15 rounds, the drum could hold 100 rounds.
Was that item also collected?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're not that far from the lunch break. I think we're going to make it.
114. Mr.
Oh, we
Brando,
got-
I'm going to show you
We've
what's
got the gun box. Cool. We've got the gun case.
marked as State's Exhibit 128A.
This is what
for
they were
identification
talking
purposes.
about.
Have you previously looked at this item prior before taking the stand today?
Yes, ma'am.
And the item within?
Yes, ma'am.
And this tag, does this have your identifying information and badge, identifying employee number?
Yes, ma'am.
And is the item within in the same or substantially the same condition as it was on the date that you collected it, November 28th of 2010?
Yes, ma'am.
State would offer an evidence, State's Exhibit 128A at this time, as well as looking at the item which has been pre-marked to State's Exhibit 129A for identification purposes. Do you recognize the outside packaging?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it have your identifying information?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you can look within, is this item within the same or substantially the same condition as it was on the date that you collected it?
Yes, ma'am.
State offers an evidence, State's Exhibit 129A.
Admitted.
Judge, at this time I would ask that the witness be able to open up the case
You may.
and publish it to the jury.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Brando has
Yep, not
have you
seeing a
checked the
crime
firearm and is
yet.
this firearm empty?
Yes,
There's no bullets in it.
correct.
As well as States Exhibit 129A. Are there any bullets
Don't
in
take
this
his
drum?
word for it.
Okay. And has a zip tie been placed on this firearm for safety purposes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If I can have you take the gun out of the case and publish it to the jury.
All right. This will help us.
And
Nice.
Mr. Brando, I'm going to ask that you cut the zip tie off of that firearm and attach States Exhibit 129 to that to show how a drum is utilized.
Pretty.
I'm going to move this case for you.
Let's go, expert. There you go.
When you found that drum, was there ammunition in it?
Yes.
Thank you. If you can detach that.
Drum. All right.
And these pieces at the end here, what are these items?
These are 2 magazines that was found with it as well.
Your first witness, Judge. Mr. Brand, I'm showing you what's been pre-marked as States Exhibit 129B. Do you recognize this item?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is it that you recognize it?
Again, like I spoke before, it's got my initials on there, my identification number, and the date in which the package was sealed, as well as a stamp explaining what was inside there as far as evidence.
And is it in the same or substantially the same condition as it was on the date that it was collected?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's state offered in evidence States Exhibit 129B? And Mr. Brando, what is contained within this item?
Those are the live rounds that were found inside the 7.62 drum that I just showed you guys.
And how many rounds were found in that?
A lot. I don't know the exact number.
Okay. Was it documented on the outside here or documented within your report? Do you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. Is this, you said that drum holds 100 rounds?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. States Exhibit 132, we're still within that bedroom. Next to the drum, what are we looking at to the right side of the drum?
Some more miscellaneous paperwork.
States Exhibit 132A.
Yes, this is the
that a close-up
accused's
of those?
house.
Yes, ma'am.
And were those records collected?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it appear to be reward information
Yes, ma'am.
similar to the information that you had documented on the outside of the purple van?
Yes.
No, this is just scary gun time. They said it's relevant because he shot it. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Were there multiple documents that were located in that downstairs bedroom that were ultimately collected?
Yes, ma'am.
Question. Sorry to interrupt. The please the court, we stipulate to its admissibility. If she wants to ask predicate questions, terrific.
You want to move it in and have
State
it
would
admitted?
offer into evidence States Exhibit 118D, 132B, and 131A.
All admitted at this time.
Going back to the kitchen for a moment, Mr. Brando, publishing
Why
States
would a
Exhibit
person buy a drum? Just
118D,
because they look cool as hell. That's why.
showing the folded up document that we had previously reviewed the photograph of the individual that was on the kitchen counter. Is this the actual document
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
had ultimately photographed?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was with a date of 10/6/2010.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Crime Crime
And on that reward, it had notated that the description of the individuals are of 2 black males and 1 white, light-skinned black female.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's an issue because earlier in the first time he talked to the police, he said it was a black woman and 2 black men. And then later, as he was going on his rounds, he said, word on the street, it was dark complected Mexicans. He couldn't tell because they were wearing ski masks at the time.
Good to know.
Except for the woman. He saw the woman's face.
Okay.
But yes, that's why they're saying so. It says black. It says black people here in the thing, doesn't it? So they're trying to show how he changed his story, even though the defense said he didn't change his story. He just relayed new information to the police. But the word on the street wasn't saying whether it was that or not. He was saying the word on the street was that it was Mexicans.
And included within.
Oh yeah, and the first time he spoke with the cops, he just been shot 5 times and was in the hospital, doped out of his damn mind. And of course, the cop talked to him alone with no other witnesses there. Didn't talk to the doctor. Didn't ask the doctor how much medicine he was on. Didn't ask the doctor the extent of his injuries. Didn't notice the fact that his whole entire hand was bandaged up. Some suspicious shit went down in that interview.
Those records, States Exhibit 130. Make sure I'm telling you what it was. 132B. There were other photographs of appeared to be printouts of an individual appearing to be in a hospital bed.
Yes, ma'am.
These were all with the reward documents. Is that correct?
Correct.
Were there various documents or records regarding like a victim impact information seeking, providing information regards to injury?
Yes.
Such as a special mattress that was required?
Yes, ma'am.
An adjustable bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And these are all located within that front bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Public Social Security information at this time on this document, but these are victims' compensation claims forms. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And these documents were all found in that bottom bedroom. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Seeking money and providing information regarding a robbery investigation. Is that correct?
Correct.
So
3, 134, and 135. This is just documenting the office. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
134
Just another overall. Yes, ma'am.
and 135.
Yes, ma'am.
dude's got a lot of
Was there a
stuff.
bedroom upstairs?
Yes, sir.
Is that where master bedroom was located?
Yes.
At this time, state would be offering an evidence States Exhibit 136, 137, 138, 131, 139, 140, and 141. Exhibit these.
Yes.
And do they fairly and accurately depict items located up in the master bedroom?
Yes.
And did you take those photographs and document them?
Yes, ma'am.
Publishing States Exhibit 136. Is this the master bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Overall photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
Master bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Messy.
138.
Yep, just circling around.
The documents regarding the victim compensation and
Dang. Dude's got cassettes. 2010. Good for him.
the needing a special mattress and things. This Babcock photograph,
What?
those documents
Babcock
then
photograph?
that were
What?
listed in States Exhibit
What?
131A were in fact found in the upstairs bedroom. Is that correct?
Correct.
Still,
Yes.
Now we see a door off to
That's
the left side of
relatively
this
clean.
photograph, but
Lots
the
of
master bedroom is
videotapes and
upstairs. Is
CDs.
that correct?
Correct.
How can you explain how is there a door leading out to an upstairs bedroom?
It's like an upstairs loft area where it's opened out to the outside.
Is there an area of a flat roof?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to draw your attention to the center upper portion of this photograph where my finger is pointing. It looks like shelving with some binders on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you take a close up of that?
I did.
Publishing State's Exhibit 140. Is that a close up of the item that's now in the center of the photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
And a close up of that is State's Exhibit Publishing 141. Did you ultimately, what is that item that we're looking at?
That's a box of ammo, 45 caliber,
And what is the brand?
Winchester.
And did you collect those?
Yes, ma'am.
Recognize this packaging
Oh,
as well as
dear
the writing.
God.
Yes, ma'am.
And is it in the same or substantially the same condition?
Okay, I have a suspicion that's going to be the box of ammunition.
Jeffrey, one moment. That's the box of live Winchester 45 caliber ammo has been introduced into evidence at State's Exhibit 141A.
I'll have to ask the clerk.
Yes. Thank you.
It's at 12. I don't mind going another 15
Just
minutes.
a few
or-
more minutes, Judge.
Absolutely.
Maybe
then
not even
that's
that
best.
long.
Yep, that's what we'll do. We'll break in between the cross. After lunch, ladies and
All right,
gentlemen,
guess
here, I'll
that's the
give you
lunch
till
break.
1:20. It's a little bit more.
We survived the morning session,
We got through it.
and Givner says, "What on earth has this to do with anything?" This has everything to do with everything. This is all of the evidence they've collected in the case. So they're just laying the foundation for the future of their charge. This is it. They're going to have to show from this evidence how he did it, if he did it. So that's the deal. This is everything. It's the most boring part of every criminal trial, but it's the most important. They're putting their evidence against the defendant into court. They just have to tie it all together and show how it all shows that he did it.
Yeah, some aspects of trials are tedious. You just have to enter in exhibit after exhibit after exhibit, but it makes it accessible. The discovery process is, like Jeff said, the most important aspect of the case. Otherwise, you can't go through all of the physical evidence that pertains to the trial.
ADA is racist, saying master bedroom. Shame on you. All right. Well, we survived another morning. We'll see how many more photographs we can introduce into the record next time we do it, which might be tomorrow, might be Monday. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, come back at 9 a.m. Eastern for some Friday law rants. We got a rant. We got a rant about Nashville. We'll be talking about probably some Murdoch even. Might rant about some Murdoch stuff. Definitely some Zachariah Anderson. We'll be talking about some other cases. The Sarah Boone. We'll be giving an update on Taylor Shabiznis. A little bit of Courtney Clenny action thrown in. So stay tuned tomorrow for some law rants. And Monday, Maritime Monday, we're going to be doing a special edition of that on Monday. Tuesday, we'll be interviewing Zachariah's brother, Solomon Anderson. Wednesday, we will be interviewing Zenith Anderson, Zachariah Anderson's sister. Next Thursday will be O.J. Simpson, and next Friday is Fuck It Friday. Do not miss Fuck It Friday. Empty your coin purses. Give me all your money. Give me all the money and watch me drink. Ah, ha, ha. Because that's what we do. I'm too tired to do a maniacal laugh. Ha 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 is the best you get. That's like semi maniacal. Do not miss the effing Friday. It's a bunch of fun, and we'll have fun.
I'm certainly looking forward to it.
See, because she's seen one. If you haven't seen one, just trust us. You don't want to miss a fucking Friday.
It's
we have a
fun.
great panel of guests. I'm going to be sending out the information and some invites later today or tomorrow, and just don't miss it. It's so much fun. We usually have 10 to 15 guests that just come on, and it just gets out of control, and we have fun, and it's all through your support. We do all of our monthly grifting in one day. So That's it. And one last super chat rolling in. Check out the Adnan Syed situation. Yeah, it's an interesting situation.
Oh, is there an
That's
update?
actually-
I was not aware.
Yes, his everything has been reinstated.
Really?
All of it. Yes, because they're saying the last hearing, the victim's father was not given sufficient time to attend in person. So they have to do the parole hearing or things all over again. They have to do the hearing all over again.
I'll have to
Wasn't a
read
parole
about
hearing,
that.
was it? Yeah. Yeah, they said it was improper. So the vacating of the charges was vacated. And everything goes back to the way it was.
That's a lot of whiplash.
I have no idea what the Afro Man situation is. Do not watch, follow, or know Afro Man. Adnan Syed, well, we might touch on it briefly. Alrighty then. That takes us up through the end of the show. We got just under halfway to Dog Cam. Better luck next time. All right. That's it. Chandler Remington. She has her brand new channel. She's uploaded her introductory video. She's promised that there's going to be a new video around the end of this week. So
yes,
keep checking back. Go to Chandler Remington's channel, Remy_legal. It's right down there below her name. That's also her Twitter ID. So follow her on Twitter, subscribe to her YouTube channel, give her all the likes you possibly can every time she puts up a video. She deserves it.
Oh, thank you.
Any last words?
To everybody who has not subscribed to Legal Vices and who hasn't liked this video, subscribe. What are you doing with your life? I have no idea what's wrong with you. But you have to go ahead and just do it. And yeah, join us tomorrow. Join us next week. A lot of good stuff coming up, like Jeff said. Look forward to some excellent rants. I know I'm personally looking forward to them. So happy to be here and so happy that you all are joining us. So yeah, looking forward to the next one.
All right, that's it. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, for some Law Racks Law Rants. Until then, have a great evening, a great morning, a great afternoon, great day, wherever you happen to be. And it's coming up the weekend, so get ready to enjoy your legal vices. For Chandler Remington, it's me, Law Racks, saying bye now.